I would like to invite our inaugural session, which is titled as Cut to Lead, how personality plays a role in effective leadership. I have, or rather we have with us, Mr. Rafeeque Ahmed. Mr. Ahmed has been actively involved in the trade bodies right from 1967. Actually, Mr. Ahmed, I was born that year. And during the mid-90s, when the entire leather and tanning industry was facing problems due to pollution and environmental issues similar to the issues today at Tripur, he championed ETPs, which is effluent treatment plants, for zero tolerance with the help of government and other institutions. And after 5 years of long struggle, ensured that all the leather and tanning industries in Tamil Nadu like Ambur, Vellore, Linaguli, West Bengal and UP operate in full conformance to the requirements. He is a Padma Shri and also the heading chairman of Rafeeque Tamil Nadu chapter, and also very august gathering of 30 executive committee members, national executive committee member of Rafeeque, which is 30 people from all over India. He is also the president of All India Hides and Skin Tanners Merchant Association, member of Research Council of Central Leather Research Institute, Federation of Indian Export Organization, president of Tamil Nadu State Council, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce, as I mentioned, past chairman of Council for Leather Export, and of course, been recipient of Padma Shri, highest civilian award for Republic of India. I would like to request Mr. Ahmed to join us here and to share his insight how the leadership can shape our tomorrow's leadership, the tomorrow's association. Mr. Ahmed.
Good morning to each one of you. Maybe a good afternoon today, right now. It's great. My dear Mr. Morari, who is my leader, I can call, and he is a leader who has also shaped me in leading an organization, putting an example of how an organization functions as an association, as a chamber, or any other thing, and how a leadership is given to its members' benefit. He has always been my advisor whenever I have conflicts, whenever I am confused. He clears me from that. And all my associations here, Mr. Nachiyar from Tamil Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Raghavan, Mr. Saravanan, Gopal, and all of my personalities and all gentlemen who has come here. What I'm going to talk to you, I won't be using big jargons and other things. I'll be a simple, my experience as leading in organizations, several associations, maybe relating to my industry as well as outside the industry as a whole of industry, where the industry needs are different than what my personal industry, where I am involved in the leather and shoe industry, is my experience in doing so. My experience started long back, as Sant has said, right from 68, 69. When I joined this business in 1964, in 64 I was in the export business. We were exporting leather and other things. And in 67, 68 I was there, that's all, nothing else. Then there was a crisis came in the in the industry, whether a leather as a semi-finished leather that used to be in those days should be allowed to be exported or not. Government had a policy at that time whether value-added product should go. So a industry which had a history of about 150 to 200 years in this part of India suddenly had a challenge saying this leather cannot be exported, and they were depending on the exports. Or it has to be tapered down, the export has to be controlled. A policy change from the central government, rightly so, on a developed country like India, a developing country, we should be going on to the next stage of the value addition. When that decision was being discussed in the Delhi Power Center, there was conflict of interest there. Some of the products people wanted this to be not to be exported. Some of them said, no, it has to be done. I was very young at the time. I was watching the leaderships, the people, the leaders of the industry discussing this and taking a view on that. And from that point of a time, I was somehow or other associated with my own association in seeing that the industry does not stop, but it should change. The change must come, but at the same time, industry should exist. Once it dies, no changes can be made. That was the conclusion which came, and luckily, the elder people of the industry gave me a role in that time. And although I was young, I was only about 6-7 years experience in the industry. They gave me a role to see that discussions are held in the Delhi with the ministry. Manubhai Shah was the commerce minister at that time, and Mr. Kaul was the secretary. Mr. Borari will be knowing him, P.K. Kaul. Mr. Kaul was the secretary commerce. Those times were very difficult times. When you take over an organization, when you become responsible not for yourself, but whatever word, whatever commitment you make on behalf of that organization or the trade, it affects the interest of all the people. Maybe in some cases it may not affect you, but there will be people who will be affected by that, your decision or your speech or your commitment to the authority. So the leadership at that time, it has to be very well balanced. That is what I had heard. At the same time, you shouldn't be hesitating to take a decision. If you are satisfied that this is the way it is going to help the industry in a long way, then you have to take the decision. But at the same time, you have to see that none of your members, your organizations, your trade members are affected. Not even one member should be affected. This is the balance of a leadership of an organization. In a company, your decision as a CEO or your chairman of your company, your decision can affect your company or not. There is only one interest. Here, there are certain many interests, which are conflicting interest, where a decision is very, very important. A leadership is very important. Without affecting the members, you had to convince the authority, convince the people that your decision is fair and is going to help. Unless the leadership shows a fair and clean image of any organization, a trade body, a trade or export organization, you had to be fair and clean. That personality makes your job easy. People believe you. People say that you are not interested party, you are not damaging them, You are not interested to see personal benefits or all these things. In this world today, particularly in India, when every move by any political leader is in doubt, when people doubt them, that when he is doing something in the name of the people, name of the public, name of the poor, name of the BPL, there is some meaning to it, not relating to what he talks. When things have been done, it is our duty as a leader of the organization that what we talk is for the benefit of the industry, not your personality or your personal gain or a section of the industry's gain. It's a very difficult situation. In the textile industry, if you are a leader and you got yarn exporters who are big exports of yarn, cotton exporters, cotton, just farmers, they make the cotton, the big exporters, big guys, talking about 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore, 1,000 crores guys. And then a garment apparel exporter. So the interests, the conflicting interests are there. He says, don't export cotton. Then the yarn man is very happy. He gets his cotton. Then the garment fellow says, textile fellow says, don't export the yarn. Then the yarn fellow gets upset. That why should you stop this, my yarn? No, he said, no, value addition is coming from the fabrics. Fabrics should be exported. Then the guy comes from the apparel fellow. Why export fabrics? Apparel should be exported. It gives you much more value addition to that, more labor, more employment. How can you balance all these things' interests? If you are a leader of your industry, textile industry, it is to be balanced well, that no one is affected. At the same time, India's achievements, India's goal has to be achieved. Everybody should benefit. These are the kind of example I'm saying. I'm not from the textile industry, but as a leader of FIO, I come across all these conflicting interests, discussions, where a leadership should give a image where they had to be fair to each and everyone. They should never have any evidence of your personal interest in their leadership or any of your actions, that you are doing it for that it will benefit you or your company or your organization, whichever you represent. It's going to benefit. A doubt, iota of doubt should not come into your members. That will give you a clean and acceptable leadership in your organization. There is also interest that you have to balance. The industry can be agitated. Industry can be very much there. You can't go with the same agitation, so same zeal to the leadership, the governments, policy makers, and you start crying with them or start shouting at them. You have to balance that whole things. You have to present in a way it does not going to hurt the power in on the current power which are sitting as the leaders, as the ministers or the secretaries or some there. Same time, you have to see to it that your industry's agitation because of certain decisions of the government is also met. It is the leadership who delivers it with, and his aim is to achieve that, not to show his leadership among his members. See, मैंने ऐसा बात कर दिया, ऐसा पूछ दिया, इसके पास तो मैंने मंत्री को ऐसा पूछ दिया. You will get shabashi for 2 minutes, but in the end, it will go negative to your interest of your organization. It has to be balanced. It has to be delivered in a manner in which it is accepted. Your aim has to be achieved. You are not going to get the clapping from your members. Same, you have to satisfy them. That's the leadership, I feel, any organization who attempts. And today, no organization in India without the mercy of any government can function today, whether it is tax matters, it is day-to-day affairs matters, it is a labor matter, or any other matter you see. This is the one country where we are too much closer attached to the policy makers, and no other country in the world is so much dependent on the politicians for every way of every day's work on your day-to-day work. And associations has got a bigger roles to play in balancing between the government and the industry interest. For example, I'm saying we had to be, as a leader of the organization, we had to see the future, not for today. You can be happy, man, if you don't disturb the present setup, present policies. You can be a leader. You will be one among the leaders who has come and gone back and retired and went back as an ex-president or ex-chairman or ex-whatever you are. But you have not achieved anything. If you want to see, you see that this has to happen, then you have to see the future. One example I can tell you. I was heading Council for Leather Export. It is the single body of all the leather industry in India, right from Jalandhar, Punjab, Kanpur, Calcutta, Bombay, South, and name it, every state. It represents the interest. An export of $5 billion, which is today's 30,000 crores, and a domestic turnover of around 30,000 crores. That's about 60,000 crores interest. It lies in the council's decision. I had been the leader of the chairman. I was the only chairman who had been there for the 3 terms. The last term of my chairmanship, I had to make certain amendments which was necessary for the future development of the council, that organization, where the right representation comes from each pockets. And I saw that some people were manipulating this. It needs to be adjusted. It has to be amended. When I was proposing the amendment, to see to it that the council, the organization strengthens and becomes a powerful body for the future and representing the right members of each and every member rather than representing few individuals. This amendment brought a lot of my own friends, my own supporters had to be out of the council if I bring this amendment. They will not be holding the post which they are holding at the present. But I had to do that. I felt I can convince them as my friends. I cannot please them as my friends. I cannot please them because they support me. But for the interest of the council, I had to do it for the long term. I did it. I convinced them, I told them, yes, you will do that, but this is the best thing which we had to do for the future. If we want all the representation of all the people, whether they are small or big, they had to be a part of this organization. And they were good friend of mine. They understood my amendment, and they have agreed for the amendment. We went through that amendment, and about 7 or 8 of my good friends lost the job. The job means as a regional chairman or regional panel chairmans, they had to do. But new faces came in, new young people came in to take over the jobs. This I'm only telling you as an example You had to be, say, justification for your cause for which you are leader, and you had to think about the future, and you shouldn't be seeing your friends or your supporters, your interest or your block or support block. That has to, you have to be above all these things. Then the organization, you have the respect, and the organization flourishes. Even if it means you have to resign, you have to get out of it, you better do that rather than keeping a same way, not changing the organization, not allowing the organization to grow, not allowing the young talents to come in. For the interest of the exports. So the name itself is Federation of Indian Export Organizations. What is a federation means? The federation means that all the councils which we have, government ministry has established councils for many of the exportable items. There are 56 organizations, 56 items of exports. You take textile. In textiles you have synthetic rayon council, apparel, cotton exports, all these things, Texprosil, engineering, handicrafts, carpet, leather, you can mention it, coffee board, tea board, spice board, APIDA, which controls the meat export, everything comes under this organization, and they are all the members of the committee. Managing committee, automatically the chairmen of the councils become the committee members. Recently I took a delegation to Iran, Pakistan and China. When we went there, we as an organization found that we come there to export to that country. They didn't receive us as warm as they are supposed to. They said, okay, your interest is to come and sell to us. What about our goods? We have also got a lot of items which we want to sell it to India. And the same reply came in China, came in the Iran, and it's the same reply came in from Pakistan, which has got a huge potential of both trade from both the ends happening. Then I realized the world has changed from those days when export was the only one item of things, one-way track. Today, the word is trade, foreign trade. You do trade from both the ends. It cannot be singular interest. It has to be import and export. You go there, you import something, and when you export, both the things. It cannot happen in one-way traffic. So I had a discussion with my members. They said, why can't we change the name at least? When we go there and arrive at import and export, then they will receive you both because you can show the interest. And also, in our GDP growth today, unlike in those days, import has exceeded the exports today. $500 billion, more than $500 billion we are importing, whereas our export is only limited to $300 billion. In 40 years back, the scenario was different. Today, the whole world has changed. Indian economy has changed. And we had to modernize the organization. The whole outlook has to be modernized. So I proposed that in the committee that the name has to be changed. There was a hue and cry in the committee, saying 45 years our leaders have established this for exports. You are trying to change the interest of it, the organization. Why we should encourage imports? Why we are the only body of exports? I said this is not working today. Today the world has changed. The world trade has changed. It can be mutual trade. You had to understand this situation. Can you lead a delegation to your country and say, why come here only to export? Please come and import from me. You cannot do that. You have to go there and say, okay, I've come here. Tell me what you have to sell, what I have to sell. It's the exchange between the trade. And you invite them to India. to see that their products are sold in India. We can facilitate that. And this is the way the world has changed. You had to accept. With a lot of argument, very old conservative people, you can know, they don't like to change. You come here after 45 years and try to change this name. So many leaders have been there. I said, yeah, they were all been there and they have done the good job, but today you had to change. I stood by it, and finally they all agreed. After that, minutes have been sent. One of them has wrote me a letter. You are running this FIO as your own organization. You think that you are the managing director of FIO. And I wrote him back saying, I'm so happy that you have that same impression, which I wanted this to run as my company. I want to run this FIO as my own company. The interest I show in my company, I should have the same interest in the organization also. I should run it as my company so that my interest is the same. I cannot have two personalities, one interest in my company, one here. I had to have my full-fledged attention to the welfare of this organization. That is why I like to take the criticism. If I want to take only a Sabashi, I would have taken it without doing anything. No, we had to do that. We had to change that. Finally, even I approached the ministry, Commerce Ministry, and explained to him the situation. They welcomed it very well. They said, yes, the things have changed. What you are doing is right. We will endorse it, and we are going out to amend that name. I'm only saying this to show that a critical decision as a leader of any organization, if you feel that you are satisfied that it's going to improve, it's going to help the organization, it's going to help your members in the long run, even though may not be acceptable today, but in the long run it is going to benefit, you had to take it, the decision. You don't want to be a good man at the moment, but critical decisions has to be taken at the right time so that tomorrow they will remember you. What you have done is the best which has helped you to do that. We have, as Prashant has said, we have seen in the, if you excuse me, crisis has come in '98 in the leather industry when I was the president of the association. Due to the pollution, effluent thing, and not treating well, the Supreme Court of India has ordered that all the industry has to be closed, whichever has not been done. At that time, we had to take a whole view, how to save the industry. If they close for a longer period, half of the small scale and cottage industries will never open up. They will be finished. Only a big ones can be able to survive. We have taken a decision that we will take our view, we will take the lead, association will take the lead, we will commit to the Supreme Court. Within the certain days, within this 3 months of time, we will establish those things and we will generate the fund and help the small fellows who was not able to do it, and we will help for the time being, giving them the loan, and we have done that. 600 units was helped. What help needed from the association was around 120 people, very, very small people. We helped them, out of our own fund, we collected the fund and helped them to establish it, and Supreme Court gave the time for 3 months to do that instead of closing down, and within the 3 months we were able to establish it, everybody, and the closure was avoided. That is a kind of a situation any of your organization comes under, any of the industry organizations comes under. The leadership is very, very important, and we have to understand at that time that I tell you, right at that time, My own organization was not involved because we already had our effluent treatment plants and we were functioning. But we helped from our own organization. Every member, big members, contributed money to the other members through the association as a loan, and we gave it to them, and everyone returned the loan within the period of 2 years. They all sent it back. We got the money, the association got back the money. We were able to save the industry at that time. So these are the type of a thing where the organization becomes very strong. Today the organization's membership has so much we have developed, and we have become very active, very rich organization, because everybody wanted to contribute as a donation to the organization, so that any crisis comes, the organization can help them. And these are the type of leadership, as you are all the leaders, you are all leading the associations and organizations, chambers. You should see to it that in a crisis time, how to see that we come out clean and the image of the industry is maintained well. And I can also see that right now, as you are seeing, India is going through a very, very difficult situation. We have never seen the crisis for which one has gone through, where the rupee has gone down to this level. And exports is the only way we can save the situation what it is happening today. As FIO, as an organization, we are in constantly meeting every other week, Ministry of Finance or the Commerce or RBI or all any other concern, taking our members' interest, discussion, how the exports can be increased, the CAT can be brought down. Today, so much of work has been done with them. That is how we have seen a growth in the last July exports. 11% growth has come on the exports with a lot of efforts given through the organization. As in FIO, as an organization, we were able to meet the people. We had several meetings with our exporters, asking them what is this we can help as an organization. They need any help from the ministry so that the exports can go up, so that we can save this crisis of the country's crisis, because it is now started to hurt the common man. When the rupee goes down and down, which is already going down, even this morning it has crossed 65.50, which has never been thought about it. And what does that mean? It's a common man. Oil, petrol, anything, even pulses, some of those food items, which are going to cost more, and that should be stopped. And we are responsible as an exporter. We have a role to play. How this can be stopped from our contributor. So we are having a meeting with our members. We are motivating them to see how this can be done. A lot of work has been done, and positive results are going to come up now on this basis. So there is a role to play in every aspect to the country as well. When they think country is in crisis, when things are to be there, is 1% of your efforts can help the country. We should do it as an organization, and that is a contribution as an organization we can able to meet out to the welfare of the country. As you all know, FICCI had always been a leading organization which between the industry and the government and the politicians, between the three. Nowadays, the political decision need not be the best for the country. It can be good for the politics, good for the political parties. But sometimes it's going to hurt the country for the long run. In this situation, it is Rafeeque which advises the government, comes to the rescue and say, this how is going to hurt your decision. If land reform measures are done, how you are seeing in one side of the picture, the other side of the picture, how industrial growth will not come, how this will affect us, why the people are going abroad and investing in buying out companies because it is easier to do so than doing it in India. This situation must change. They openly tell the government, Rafeeque has got the guts, the president of Rafeeque got the guts to go to the prime minister and tell him this is wrong what you are doing it. This has to be given the alternative measures to do them. That is the leadership I feel as an organization. We should take the safety of the industry. Sometimes the political wing does not look at, they look at one side of the story. They don't see the damages coming in the future. Where I have learned from the Rafeeque that how you stand up against it and tell the government, bring to them in a nice way. You don't shout at it. You don't go to the press and make a big noise about it. Through your connections, you meet the ministers and tell them, this is don't do it, or do it this way. And these are the leadership I feel any organization. It is what Rafeeque is a big enough to do to the top level, but many other state level and other levels, any organization can go and meet and solve the problems. And I feel that is this what we feel as a leadership of an associations we should be able to deliver to our members. Whereas the leadership is a learning experience for the entire team, extend team every minute of their work life, and it has a cascading effect of the team's personal life too. Standing testimony to this is my own leader who's sitting in front of me, Mr. Murari, who is the advisor to the Rafeeque president and the former secretary to the President of India. Murari has been advising Rafeeque presidents for 20 years, and the role hat which he wears is that he is also the chairman of Aban Offshore, a $3 billion company, and independent directors of over 12 companies such as Aditya Birla, Nuova, Idea Cellular, Bajaj Auto, Great Eastern Energy Limited, Bhilwara Groups, Fortis, Park Sheraton, Board of Directors of Loyola College, Management Associate School, LIBA, etc. So he has got the leadership heading the industry, but same time he gives his experience, his personality in building his and advising the presidents who come in to lead the Rafeeque how to tackle with this situation. And he, being a civil servant all his life, he knows the thinking of the government, the bureaucracy, how they think about it, how this can be tackled. And these are the type of people's help if we have as an association, as a chamber, it greatly helps us. And we are getting this help, and I should say, he always looks after a new leadership is developed. He is the one who brought me into the Rafeeque, and he has been my teacher for all along. And he travels so much, I can tell you, at his age, that every other day I have to check out where he is in India. Every board meeting he is there. So why I am telling about Mr. Murari's capability is, blessed are the associations, blessed are the organization which can have a leadership advice like a personality like that. You should seek the personalities like him. It's very difficult to have a personality like him or similar. So you have to take the advice and run your organization, taking the best interest best advisors, and if you can do it, and if you can be fair to your member, fair to yourself, and your conscience is clean, and your leadership is clean, definitely your organization will shine, and you will also shine. People will respect you, will honor you, that you have done this for the industry. In the conclusion, I should congratulate the chairman of this Congress, Kamilka Das, the entire team who were on this conclave, and I once again welcome you all to industry doyens, delegates, trade bodies who managed a lot, 2 days of the work for this conclave, the members of print media, TV media, and distinguished delegates. I should thank you for listening to me, my own experience, rather than I have not used any jargon or not quoted of any big writers about anything. I simply said my simple experience in running in organizations I shared with you. I hope that you will excuse me for that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
A fact established that the way you give leadership to run a company, the same leadership is required to run an association. And most of you here are, I'm sure, attached with an association in leadership position. So this is the takeaway that we want you to take forward, even though the companies that you are a leader or working for an organization or a CEO where your interests are commercial as well as to develop the organization. Similarly, when it comes to association which are volunteer driven, where there may not be too much commercial activity, but still that leadership is required to, if you want to take your association to the next level. My personal observation is that we have taken non-for-profit too much for granted, too much seriously. It can be non-for-profit, but it should not be non-for-revenue. Because unless the association generate money, they're not able to spend. They're not able to engage younger members. They're not able to support new initiative or engagement. So please run it like the way you would run your organization, and that's where the success lies. And as an association is a community developer. So it has much more say in the community, to the government, to us, to bring benefit. So I'm sure some of you will go back here after today's session, will not only help you, but also shape a leader as an association leader. With this, I thank Mr. Ahmed and thank you all to attend the first session.